Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about percents, fractions, decimals, and percent conversions. First and foremost, you have to understand that percents can be tested in different ways. So I decided to do 3 quick examples of different ways that percent could be tested on any given test. So with that being said, we're going to start with number one. They're giving you a pictorial model and they're asking you what percent of the model is shaded. So the first thing you have to do is, since they're concentrating on the part that is shaded, well, all you do is count the squares that are shaded, and you see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. 4 out of how many total squares? Well, if you count all the squares, see that is 4, 8, 12, 16. So 4 out of the 16 squares are shaded. Now that would be our answer if it was a fraction, but then again they're specifically asking you for the percent. So we could do this 2 different ways, and the first one that I would suggest is simplify the fraction. And the second one, if you don't know how to simplify the fraction, will be pretty much divided, and that will give you your decimal, and then you go to a percent. So before you get to dividing, always simplify the fraction. So try to find a number that can go into the 4, and at the same time it could be it could go into 16. So here we can use 2, but as you can see, 4 is another number that we can use, and the bigger the number you simplify, the less steps you have to do. So 4 would be a better number than 2. So 4 goes into 4 one time, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. So now, after simplifying, we see that for 16ths, it's the same thing as 1/4. And here's where we have to understand, we have to know our basics. All my students should know that fourths, you're related to quarters. So 1/4 is the same thing as 1/4 or 25 cents, which is the same thing as 25%. So that will be the answer for question number 1. Number 2, very basic too. You're missing the numerator here, and we have the denominator is 20, and we have to make that equation true. So on the right side, you can see that it's 35%, so we got to find that numerator that can make that equal to 35%. So the easy way to do this, now all of you should know, is that percent is always based out of 100. So if they're giving you the 35%, well, put the 35% out of 100, because percent is always based out of 100. And now, an easy way out is find the scale factor. How would you go from 20 to 100? Well, you can say that times 5. 20 times 5 will equal 100. And remember that what you do at the bottom, you must do it to the top. So times 5 on top. Now all you got to do is ask yourself, what number times 5 will equal 35? And as you can see, if you know your multiplication tables, which you should, you can figure out that it's 7. 7 times 5 will give you 35%. So with that being said, 7 is the missing number in our final answer for number 2. Very basic. And last but not least, number 3, convert 5/8 to a percent. Now, on question number 1, I said simplify the fraction before you divide. Well, yes, sometimes you cannot simplify the fractions no more, and this is the case of 5/8. Now, we do know that 5/8 is more than 50%. So our answer will be more than 50%, but at the same time, we just don't know the exact number. So what we have to do is make our little table, which all of you should know how to do. Fraction, decimal, percent. They're giving you the fraction, which is 5/8. And now we have to go to a decimal and then to a percent. And all of you, again, should know that to go from a fraction to a decimal, all you got to do is divide. Sorry about that. So we had to divide. So right here at the bottom, we are going to go ahead and divide 5/8. Now remember that when we divide, it's top number and bottom number out. So with that, we can start dividing. 8 can never go into 5, so we will add a decimal and then a 0. 8 will go into 50 6 times, and that will be 48. 50 times 48 will be 2. Since we don't have any more numbers inside, we need to add another 0 and bring that down, which is going to equal 20. Now 8 will go into 20 twice, and that will be 16. 20 minus 16 will give you 4. So once again, we add a 0 inside, and we bring that down. Now that equals 40. Now 8 goes into 40 5 times, and that would be exactly 40. So the division, it's done, and there's my answer as a decimal. So 625 thousandths, or 0.625, something like that. And now our last thing is change that decimal into a percent, and we should have our answer. And all of you should know that to go from a decimal to a percent, all we do is move the decimal twice to the right. Once, twice. So our percent, it's 62.5%. So just like that, you have 3 different ways that percent could be tested. Make sure you use these examples for your upcoming assignment. Thank you.